But it seems like every playdate, there's one guy on this team that is just struggling. And it changes between playday to playday. And we're starting to see, as we've had, 3 games so far from these guys, that we're identifying which ones are more consistent. I'd say Bappen, I'd probably put up there. He's been a real fragger for Odium. But Saved, for example, had an amazing game last week, but the playday before that, when they played Bliss, he really, really struggled. And so from, holistically, this team, I'm just seeing a lot of inconsistency that I think derives from that lack of experience, which is very much the opposite case for Kelton's Knights.
Yeah, I think it's exactly right. Kelton's Knights sort of like have their roles that they've settled into now as the 5 of them. They play it default, but they play it well. And I think that's like the big difference between them, like I was saying. Like with the back of experience, you know exactly what you need to be doing in the server. Once you get into that routine, you're just going to be super good at it. I think last week I was pointing out Josh to be that player that I feel like really epitomized that entire idea. I see him as a player that has had his routines for a long time, since coming into OS Rainbow Six, but he does his job extremely well, especially on that front line. So as we go into Oregon, I can only expect more of the same.
Well, what we won't be seeing is this Solus, which I think is a good move here for Kelton's Knights. There are a couple teams in the league that really like to focus on using pre-placed drones to enable entry rather than just having a low-information entry fragger. And it tends to be the more traditional and older teams that really rely on that older style where you get your pre-placed. That's why Bliss almost always ban the Solus. Good move for Kelton's Knights. But, of course, the Azami going out, it does leave in the Mirror, the Fenrir, the Kaid, and just about a million other amazing defensive operators.
Yeah, well, I think the thing with Kelton's Knights is that you want to bring it back as close as you can to the era of Siege that they knew how to play, right? So taking off all your like super operators that have come in on the defending side in particular is pretty important. On the attack half, there's not too much that's like mission critical to like the new meta, if you would say. Maybe like Brava's in the conversation to that, but like it doesn't really matter, you know, like they'll probably play it anyway. Whereas like I think on the defense, there's just sort of like this plethora of problems that you now have to solve that these old guys might not know how to do.
Well, the one thing that these Kelton's Knights players know is how to play the slow and steady siege that they have played for a long time, as long as they're prepared to deal with those bits of utility brought to the table. And the one that does concern me here is the Fenrir, just because the Fenrir can be really awkward to deal with. You mentioned Brava, that's one of the best counters because Brava's actually one of the only ways that you can destroy a closed Fenrir device.
Yeah.
But the Twitch, it would be another option. Aside from that, you're probably just looking at explosives or EMPs. And yeah, we have a couple on the board, but immediately as I say that, the first Rotero drone from Vinny is going to get taken down.
Yeah, so it does look like Kelton's Knights are going to go for a pretty classic push here onto the basement bomb site. It's not going to be a full sweep of the map, but rather just focusing in on this back take. The problem with doing a basement attack, of course, is that once you've taken the map, you need to give yourself enough time to then plan out your execute, take down all the utility that is there, and then actually make your way in. I mean, you've got Smoke, you've got Fenrir now, and you've got Mirror. That's a lot of stuff that you're going to be trying to deal with through the mid-round.
Yeah, what's more, you also got to deal with these roamers. Saved was tempting a bit of a roam on the ground floor, but he has been forced back now and he's keen to try and support in blue. But Bappen's the main guy that I'm looking at on this roam. Also, in the server right now, the highest rated player from this stage. So he is a big fragger for Odium, and he might eventually find Josh here.
Yeah, so I think it is going to be Josh who does want to keep tabs on any of the roamers here inside the ground floor. Of course, because it is a back take, they are then vulnerable to any plays retaking up back through the freezer stairs. So they're going to send Josh there to play flank watch and try and cut off these roamers as they come back in and try and retake meeting.
Yeah, Prez has got some drones to support. Oh, but I think Josh just did see Bappen through that drone hole, so he's not going to get caught off guard here. He might try and peek this angle. He's very aware. A ping goes out from a teammate, a flashbang to go through. Bappen is taking quite a bit of damage as well from Campo on the other side, but President is there for the refrag from the top of the stairs, and that does bring things back even.
Nice work there on the pinch for Kelton's Knights, but like you said, they have actually taken down a player. And in this one-to-one situation with just a minute left to go, it is now on the onus of Kelton's Knights to try and turn their attention in towards this bomb site and start playing the utility game. I believe the shield down in blue has actually been destroyed, or there was no shield down here. There was the Warden's one. There was one, wasn't it? Yeah, it has been taken down now, so that's one part off the checklist. But the next part is going to be clearing Saved out of Shaiko.
Yeah, it's not easy to do. It looks like Kelton's Knights will try and open up the wall next to him using the Hibana, who's opened up the hatch above. It is going to get shot off, though, so Saved is a little bit safer for now. Time is ticking for Kelton's Knights. 30 seconds left. And listen to that, the logic bomb detonates and Save loses the fight on the rear stairs with Pat. That opens up this bomb site for Kelton's Knights. But President will close it straight again with the double. Vinny and Campo have both gone down. Prez continues to hold on to the pillar, and I think Pat's going to get caught. No, he won't. That might make it possible for KK again. 2 Odium players looking to hold on, and the first one goes down. The trade is there. Worthy has got to push for Cairo, but it ain't gonna happen. Odium just barely scrape away with the round on time.
Yeah, good discipline there from Odium in the dying seconds of the round. Prez made a really great play over around that pillar's position to really stunt that attack as it came down through pillar. Of course, that is always the turning point of the attack, right? If you can funnel in, actually clear out that pillar's position without too many casualties, that's typically what will define the round. But really, it was nice from Cairo to, in the end, not decide to take that 1 versus 1, who I believe was Campo, was Worthy on the other side, sorry, and actually just play the time game, knowing there was only about a second left on the clock, and they can close out a basement defense.
Yeah, Cairo, we didn't mention him a lot, but he is the star player for Odium, even though he is outstatted, if you will, by Bappen so far this stage. Of course, Cairo is providing quite a bit of a leadership role for the team. He is by far the most experienced member of Odium. I think everyone aside from Cairo and President are making their debut this stage, if I'm not wrong. Of course, President has played for some kind of mid-tier teams for quite some time, but Cairo played in APAC South with Wildcard, and of course qualified for OCN back with Overt back in the day, which eventually became the current wildcard. Oh, sorry, current, what are they called now? Regiment. Rapid Response Regiment.
Yeah.
I was calling them wildcard again, but no, wildcard have gone over to the US. Yeah, anyway, Cairo, he's a real gunner.
Yeah, he's doing really well, especially in this stage. He's really been showing up, especially in the clutches. Like, when I think of clutch plays that have really showed up in stage 2, I think of Cairo. Like, he's had some pretty super rounds. So, yeah, I think he's doing super good on this current team as well, especially as a very vocal figure. We go into an attack here on the top floor bomb site, kids and dorms, and it does look like it's going to be a master-centric push for Kelton's Knights, just trying to get that attic wall open and of course then to get master as well. But there is, I believe, a rotate there being held. Oh no, there isn't. It's double electrified. Got it wrong. Never mind. Yes. It's double electrified. So they will have to take their time down below to try and clear out that utility before they can translate their push up.
Yeah, there are EMPs on Worthy, but the thing is, you're talking about a Qaid, and it's always a bit awkward to make sure that you get rid of the claw wherever it may be. There's so many different options for where it might be. You're probably going to have to drain it out before you toss that EMP. Meanwhile, Bappen is down below, and playing the Oryx has actually got the ability to get back to site super quickly. I really like that. Holes into the lobby from meeting gave him so much ability to kind of control this downstairs area, but of course he is just going to fall back. As I say that, he's actually rotating the kitchen. Look at him.
Yeah, he's going to mosey on back down into the ground floor. I think Josh has just been lulled into a false sense of security as well. He had a drone that I believe was inside of security, and there was one inside of meeting as well that actually watched Bappen go back up. But I don't know if they know he's come back down again.
Oh, Campo might walk into him. Josh is actually tempted to make something happen on the white stairs, and there's no util covering him. There is a player watching that position, however. An exchange of bullets, but no serious damage done yet.
Josh has got to be really careful here. Bappen is just around the corner from him. He actually seems to be pretty aware that there could potentially be a player on the ground floor, just sending in a light drone. Hasn't actually seen him yet.
It's quite a quiet moment now for Kelton's Knights as they're continuing to drone out the site. Oh, there you go. Love that nade vertically from Josh. Didn't find anything, but it did flush out a key position. Fortunately, that miss will cost Knights a bit more time here. What is the play?
They're going to be really cautious here. They want to try and synthesize the push on the top of white stairs with whatever main push they're trying to do, right? They want to give Josh space to actually make his entry. And it seems like they're going to pivot over to this double window instead and make an explosive execute happen.
As the E1D goes out, the jump in the window has gone through, and Saved is there to cover it. Josh has managed to get all the way deep, right into the center of sight, and Worthy finding that player in Trophy has turned this round upside down for Odium. A double for Josh! Oh, he's gone nuts! Bappen now in a 1v4, and Josh finds a 4K on the rounds. The man steps up when he's needed. And the rounds are, even at the moment, 1 round apiece on the back of that insane play from Josh.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you get Josh at the top of the white stairs and you know, oh mate, it's over from here, right? That is one of these like routine positions that I would say about Josh, the player, that he's just, you can tell he's scrimmed that exact route, exact entry into the bomb site and execution so many times that he just knows exactly where to be and how to cautiously take those one-to-ones and isolate the gunfights on the bomb site, even though they are actually quite close together, even though the defense is quite claustrophobic. Just being able to weasel his way in with that rotation hole did enable him to eventually clean up all those kills.
Weasel is the perfect word, isn't it?
Yeah.
He just snuck through there at the perfect moment. I think he just sprinted from top white into games at the exact moment that the other player jumped in through the window, which meant that Save was distracted. I love it.
Love it. Super work from Josh, and instead Odium are not actually going to repeat that top floor. They've realized that Kelton's Knights have quite a lock onto that bomb site. They have a way of executing onto it that was rather unpredictable. Odium weren't quite ready for that one, so instead they're going to change it up and go over to their tertiary bomb site of meeting, and we're going to see this top floor hold. It's going to be aided by the castle, but it's going to be about how long they can hold onto this control before Kelton's Knights to get their way in.
It's funny, isn't it? Odium, they love playing into this drone denial. They don't have the Solace up as Knights Bandit, but they've got the Mute and the Mozzie. They've also got a little bit of creep denial with the Malusi. It stops those players just lurking in and doing what Josh did so well last round.
The problem with these Odium plays at the moment is that they're giving a lot of respect to Kelton's Knights. Okay, it might be a problem, it might not be a problem, but we've seen Campo every single time essentially get Attic control for free with like a pre-place, like just halfway up tier 2, right? Simple as you do it, but it feels like a drone that's rather unsafe and you'd be able to take down. But all these Odium plays are giving so much respect that actually Kelton's Knights are able to flood into the bomb site early.
Vinny has found the opener. Karma's gone down. And with that, Odium have completely lost site control. There is one player in kitchen, but there's even a backstab from Josh elsewhere. This plan is going down. Worthy is holding the lobby rotation. And suddenly, the defenders must become the attackers. There's a player outside. What's going on, Worthy, my dude? He misses that shot, and save goes down anyway to Vinny. Still 3 players left up, but as I say that, another one bites the dust. President, oh, he finds the kill finally. Bappen comes in to support. But this is far too little, and the timer is continuing to tick on down. Campo loses that fight, so that's not bad for Bappen. But surely this is not possible. Look at that clock. The round is all but done.
Yeah, with only 11 seconds left to go, President will actually find the kill onto the player in lobby that was Worthy. But with Pat left, 6 seconds left to go. That diffuser will not go down, and he'll clean it up with the 2K.
What a round for Kelton's Knights. Mandy, what a call on that rush. The only player holding meeting was Karma, and he was mincemeat.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like, that was a super early round aggression call there from Kelton's Knights to actually go for it. I think they realized that they weren't actually holding a lot of the early entry positions. Where Odium, there was a lot of drones we saw within the first like 20 seconds. The point that I was trying to make was that essentially within the first 20 seconds of the round, Kelton's Knights had like 4 drones. They were all in the ground floor or like inside of Attic, and they could just see like lobby's clear, garage is clear, there's no one holding laundry stairs, there's no one in classroom, there's no one in Zulu. Let's just like walk in and see what happens. We have Attic control already because they got it for free essentially, right? So they could immediately collapse onto the bomb site with how much space that they'd been given early by Odium, and they took full use of it and just went for it.
That's the kind of siege I want to watch. I don't know about you, but I love when teams on the attack are just looking for chances. And instead of spending 2.5 minutes dilly-dallying, they just get straight down to business. And I love that from Kelton's Knights. It's funny because you'd expect that from like these young gunning teams, but no, Kelton's Knights are like, guys, we're just bringing it back to basics, and it works.
Yeah, I think it's exactly right. Like a big comment that Vinny made in his last interview is that a lot of these new teams don't really play this fundamental siege. Like they're not drilling out how to just play cafe, you know, how old people would play cafe these days, right? So, like, you know, the same thing here in Oregon. All the takes that these guys are doing are pretty, like, elementary when you think about it. Everyone has been doing, like, a master take for years now. Everyone's then learnt how to pivot and then do an explosive execute onto the double window. But just being able to do it with such... I suppose, like, it's so well-drilled and well-timed, I think is something that a lot of these OS teams are just missing in that little bit of detail.
And ironically, well-drilled is not a phrase that you would often associate with a roster full of veterans who don't really practice that much because they've all got other things that they're doing with their time. Yeah, it goes to show just the raw talent on this roster and the experience, how that experience does shine through. My God, it really does. With so many players leaving the scene in recent years, it's great that we have this home for all these veteran retirees who can come back and show what they're worth with like-minded individuals, and they're really putting Odium under the pump.
It's good fun to watch and certainly nice for us to be able to call out some of these old names. But here goes Odium in their reattempts of the basement bomb site. Now, this was the one defense that they actually were able to collect. So hopefully if they're able to go along the same lines of discipline, being cautious about it, they should be able to close this one out too. Although this time around, they seem to have been giving up a lot of this ground floor early once again. Josh is able to make his way into small tower at the same time the Flores is instead over on this back tower stairs to try and make quick work of all the utility in the back of the bomb site.
And it does more or less look like the same kind of hold from Odium and the same kind of attack. The notable difference here is that Vinny is on the Brava, so he might be able to target some of those Fenrir FNAT devices. Let's see if we can spectate him now as he's going in. He's going to jump across. He manages to spot one. He is going to grab that. And really the pivotal thing here is it's not that that's now going to be active against the defense, it's just that it's no longer going to work against the attack. But as I say that, he immediately gets his head taken off.
Uh-oh, there we go. Nice off angle from Saved as he goes for that peek, realizing that the push has to come through. With only 30 seconds left, the flashbang flood is going to come in to try and clear out that pillar position, and Worthy is going to kick it all off.
Oh, but the trade is there for Karma. Worthy is going to move in. Okay, that's a very strange off angle for Cairo. And he's brought this man advantage back and now squarely in favor of the defense. It's a nice final kill there onto Campo. It didn't take much to lock it out. And after all the chaos, Odium take another fairly convincing round on the basement.
Yeah, that was good. I think there were some small things that went right there for Odium. Of course, the first one was Saved, who decided to peek at what was a pretty off time there to take out Vinny. Not just that, but you also pointed out Cairo in an off angle coming down as the execute went through for Kelton's Knights. So ultimately just catching Kelton's Knights off guard with little micro decisions in positioning is sort of what you need to just cut that attack in half, catch them off guard and not enable those entries to work out in their favor.
So that's great. Two really solid defenses of the basement for Odium. But now it's going to be locked for the rest of the half, right? And that's where I get a bit concerned, because Dorms was a bit of a shambles. Meeting was even worse. They've got to now reattempt Dorms. They've got to hope that they can do something a little bit better. And really last time it was just the fact that they completely forfeited the White Stairs. Josh walked in and found 4 kills.
I do like that Cairo has made this switch onto Legion instead. I don't know if you play it in the last defense, but I think that's something that this team is lacking a little bit, is some of that passive intel. Kelton's Knights on not just this bomb site, but also the meeting one really caught them off guard with the tempo of the push that they were doing. Not just the tempo, but exactly where it was coming from, right? They did a great job at not telegraphing what they were doing. And I think that was a bit in part to lack of passive intel. So I like that this Legion's being brought on the board now for Cairo. He can use that to regenerate those goo mines through the round if he chooses to fall back to the bomb site. And it's going to slow down Kelton's Knights as they try and go in for their execute.
Well, strangely enough, he's actually going to use it to hold on to tower here, which is fairly uncommon. I would have expected he would be holding on to down below the White Stairs where a lot of the aggression was last round, but of course Campo's consistently pushing this position and now he's having to think twice.
Yeah, I think this is the first time as well that we've seen Campo actually struggle to get addict control in the 4 rounds that have played out. This is the 5th one now, of course. It's the only time that I think he's actually been met with contest from Odium, so I think this is a great choice from Cairo to actually put that early pressure on Kelton's Knights that they haven't felt before.
Yeah, and there's going to be a moment of truth here where Campo's like, well, what do I do about it? Do I just get in? Do I push elsewhere? Do I get a teammate to help me? And he looks very undecided at the moment.
Yeah. I think the thing is the same thing's kind of going on with what Josh is trying to do as well, right? He always tries to get small tower control for free, but this time it's been a lot slower. Yes, there's still 1 minute and 40 left in the ground, but last time, if memory recalls correctly, he was able to get into this nice and quick with Campo doing the pinch onto the ground floor and that kind of goodness, right? So that's good from President as well, able to take out Pat, who is the hard breach player out on the master balcony. That is a mission critical part of the push, but at least the breach has a line of sight in it.
Yeah, that is an aggressive push. Who is that? It's Cairo. He was down below in Freezer, and he's come up the stairs. He's now been pushed back a little bit by Josh. Bappin's also not far away to support as well. This is getting very awkward, and Kelton's Knights have completely stalled out. Yeah,
so Josh has been kept at bay here at the bottom of White. Says he hasn't been able to make his entry at White, which, remember, was a very pivotal part of the execute by Cairo and by Bappin. They've realized where that nomad jab is, but with that, Josh is able to go for that peek. Knowing that there's a second player there, he's going to play the cautious game and actually fall back and try and enable the rest of his team to hit the bomb site. Remember, if there's 2 down below, there's only 2 on the bomb site. So surely now's a good opportunity to make something happen.
So Bappen's going to get straight up to site. That was smart. I think Saved must have accidentally or for some other reason been pushed down out of kids' dorms. And so Bappen's retaken his position. Campo finally has tower control, but look at that clock. There's only 30 seconds left. Vinny, though, does find a pivotal kill. There's a line of sight for him to use. Campo's traded back after Worthy goes down at the top of Armory Stairs, but the diffuser has gone down with him. And amidst the chaos, it's all up to Vinny in a 1v2. And both of these players are fairly separated. That's not enough shots to land the kill. Got around the corner. 1, 2, it's too many. Vinny's frustrated as hell. And Odium steal that away from him.
That was funny in the reaction cam. Vinny's like, where are these guys going? Where have they gone? They're on my screen for 1 second, and then they were off it again. So good discipline there from Odium in the last few seconds of the round. Once again, it is nice from Odium to actually be able to watch this style of gameplay that they're doing here on the defense. They know, yes, the execute is coming in, but the win condition isn't always to go and frag out Vinny. You can just wait out on the time, confuse him, make him upset, bamboozled, and yeah, it was really nice there from Odium to be able to claw that one back. I think the big philosophical change that they did there was actually contesting out early, right, on the positions that Kelton's Knights were trying to get in. We really harped on about Cairo. He did both of those things. Not only did he prevent Attic take from coming in for like pretty much the entire round, but then he also went down and prevented Josh from making that super play up White Stairs by being down there, right? Even though he does get taken down, in the end someone was there to go and refrag it. They knew what was coming and they were ready for it. Yeah,
it was a great read from Odium in the end, and now we've seen proof that if they re-attempt a bomb site that they've lost, they can get better at it. What about if they go to a bomb site they haven't yet taken in the final round of the half? Well, that's what we're about to find out, because we're seeing dining right here. That's right, they went meeting the last time they were forced onto a tertiary site, and this time they're going dining. They have brought the mirror, which proved to be incredibly successful on the basement, and I don't know what Kelton's Knights are going to do about it. There's 100 different ways you can try and deal with that mirror, and none of them are easy.
Well, Kelton's Knights have actually switched Campo out onto the sledge here, so I would read into that as they're trying to play for this vertical. They're going to want to get their plays inside of Master and see what they can do with it. With this mirror setup that has gone down, I don't think there is actually a lot of pressure out in that top floor. I didn't actually look at the setup too closely this time around, I'll be completely honest with you. Thank you, Sky.
Nothing.
But yeah, actually, it's completely empty. So if they do want to isolate this execute in towards that kitchen side, instead of facing head-on onto those mirrors, they could identify that and try and execute it, which is what it looks like they're trying to do here.
Unless if Odium can land one of these 3 C4s or more on a kill, I can't imagine how they're going to... Yeah, okay, so pre-place is nice. Wow, he's been droned the whole time. And that means that C4's also been droned. Vinny's got to be careful. He's just walking right over that C4 now. And Campo's the pivotal player, though. And the C4, with no info, is going to completely miss.
Yes, this is nice. Campo can then start to make work of this vertical. Of course, the players remaining with C4s are trapped now outside of the bomb site. So as this does go down, it will force all of the Odium players to go and play onto the rooms adjacent to the bomb site. And I think that's where this second half of this push is going to start to come in, right? Yeah, it's completely claustrophobic now over and towards that small tower side. Josh is able to find a pick. I'm not sure through where, actually through the White Stairs cutoff, knowing that all the defenders are stuck in towards that western side of the map. The only player here that they're going to meet with resistance, if they want to translate it down, is Saved, who could potentially backstab them from inside of meeting.
Yeah, I mean, this is very strange defense. Look at where all these Odium players are. Usually you don't play in dining at all. You don't play in small tower at all because it's the most dangerous places to play. And Josh, if he rotates over to small tower, might be able to punish that. But of course, there's still a mirror in dining. It looks like you might be right. Kelton's Knights are going to pretty much ignore this dining presence. I wouldn't mind them getting a player up in office above to vert out these positions, but I think, like you've said, it's just a complete rotation.
Yeah, so they don't actually know that Saved is here, and he is going to be able to get that backstab like we spoke about earlier onto Pat. That is your hard breach going down. Even though the Selma has gone off, it will allow a rotate in for Worthy to get through. It's still going to be a dangerous execute here for Kelton's Knights.
What a play here. What a rotation, but the vertical angle from Vinny is massive. He finds the double, leaving it all up to poor Prez amidst 4 players. That's a very nice shot there onto Josh, but he'll need a lot more than that. He's very low HP to do it as well. He knows he has to go above because Vinny was cutting off his rotation from there earlier, but Vinny just needs to land a single bullet but he knows he barely needs to do anything at the moment. He can fall back, he can pre-fire, it doesn't matter. Kelton's Knights will win the half regardless. A 3-3 scoreline. You could call that a win if you like. I think Kelton's Knights will be very satisfied.
Yeah, once again, a really well-identified push coming out from Kelton's Knights. They took the path of least resistance. I think, once again, Odium just not putting a lot of pressure onto Kelton's Knights on their attacks. It felt like Kelton's Knights were given so much of the entry, in particular, for free. They identified that that top floor wasn't being held onto at all, and Campo was able to make quick work of the floor with the sledge. Not just that, but by completely ignoring that small tower side of the map and then going and doing meeting instead. The only thing they had to worry about was one mirror that was facing inside a meeting, and that could be dealt with the vertical, right? So I think ultimately for Kelton's Knights, they plan out their steps well. They get all 5 players on the board to do something that's relatively linear and simple, but well read. And I think that's the thing that really matters and is the spark for this team. Yeah,
Kelton's Knights just know how to do the basics, know how to play like traditional classic Siege. And that is that when the bomb site is downstairs, you go above. That's just how people play Rainbow Six.
You know? Yeah,
it is.
I don't know. All the pushes that they're doing are just smart. Like, they just take their time to journey out, actually ever think about it, and then go and do it.
And that's why the round I was most impressed by for Odium was the one where they contested everything. Like that Dorms round, right? Where they just had tons of roaming down below. And I feel like if Odium had continued that philosophy on most other sites, they probably would have had a bit more success. They probably would have won a 4-2 half.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think Odium, like, yes, they played some good Siege in the end. Like, it was okay. You know, they played some, what was rather default Oregon. They played it all right. They got 3 defenses, but I feel like we expected a little bit more out of them, to be honest. But alas, they're going on to their attack half instead, and we'll see if they can turn things around.
Yeah, just 4 rounds on this attack needed, which will be a challenge, but Kelton's Knights aren't bringing the Mirror, and they aren't bringing the Fenrir, which, to me, are 2 of the most powerful operators on this basement bomb site. And that does leave the door open a little bit for Odium here. You know what else leaves the door open? A complete free map.
Well, I think the thing is, this is actually all right from Kelton's Knights, right? Yes, they've been given the free map, but how are they going to get hatches open? They've got the EMPs on Karma, but they have the K8 on the other side on Vin, right? So if he can juggle those what are they called? Claws well on this E hatch, they might actually, like, just never open it. Oh, he's not actually going to juggle them because he's got another one on Freezer, but lack of Maverick does mean that Odium are going to struggle a little bit to try and get some things open unless they actually identify where this claw is and they land the EMP in the right spot. Yeah,
that's the thing, right? The claw has a larger radius than the EMP does, so they have to have at least a vague idea of where it is, otherwise that is not going to land. Also, the Hibana, they're going to need to use both EMPs to enable that Hibana, and both of them are going to have to land. Otherwise, the EMP won't be active long enough to allow the Hibana to detonate.
I wonder how this minigame is going to play out. So they're actually not doing it yet because they want to send in a drone into E and actually figure out exactly where that is. So I think they have just sent out that EMP. Let's see if it's actually landed. It has. Okay, so they've done it. They figured out where it is and well identified. It was on the other side of that wall and they had figured that out. So finally this hatch does get open. They have won this minigame so far. But then the next crucial step is then sending down your flashbangs and actually trying to clear out in this Pills position. Now with the combination of Wamai and Jaeger, that's going to be pretty tricky.
It's going to be flashes and a nade to go over, but climbing Campo, he dodges it perfectly. He plays aggressive, plays around the remaining closed hatch, and gets the opening kill onto one of the best players from Odium. That is quite a way to start it for Knights, and, well, it's just going to go from bad to worse for Odium here, as the only player outside blue has been dispatched with as well.
Yeah, it's not looking too good. A serious lack of utility now for Odium to enable their execute into the bomb site. Vin has got an off angle off the bomb, and climbing Campo is actually going to be able to take down a second from inside of that freezer position. Full wipe, but is he able to land the shots?
Save is in an awkward spot, and he does not find anything. A fairly simple round for Kelton's Knights. A play here and a play there, and they will take a convincing defense of the basement. Odium left scratching their heads after that.
Yeah, I think Odium ultimately just sort of running out of the tools that they needed to actually solve every problem that was in front of them. I think ultimately the flashbangs that got sent were squandered a little bit over on Freezer's side, whereas if you're going to do a back take like that, you do want to try and enable it down E. At some point, I do think they actually pivoted, realizing that they spent too long trying to get that E hatch open, that they wanted to do a front take instead, and that's why they sent all their utility through there. But great play from Campo to find the off timing as that utility is going through to get the kill, and not just that, but Vinny as well playing the cautious game just in the corner, just waiting for that execute to come through as they completely run out of utility after that. So really well played from Kelton's Knights.
Kelton Knights really are good. Like, I know we keep saying this, but like, this is actually a really good team.
Yeah, they're doing well. They're doing very well. Of course, like the map pool in BO1s, they only need to know 5 maps. and
If that.
Yeah, exactly that. You know, you only need to know 4 or 5 maps, and I think ultimately with like some of the more fundamental maps that have been in the game for a long time, it's going to be quite hard to challenge them in the veto to a map that they're like quote unquote weak on. I think that like between all the 5 that they could potentially play, which is like Oregon, Club, Chalet, Bank. What's the other one?
I don't know. I can have a look and see what they have at band.
Yeah.
You say Cafe? That's what they
Cafe, that's the other one,
Desire on last week.
I didn't say that. Yeah, I think between all of them, they're pretty proficient at all 5. So I think it'll be quite challenging to get them on a bad veto.
And they even played Border against Aerial Arise, and that is a somewhat newer map or a bit more of an aggressive map. Of course, that is the only game that they have lost so far. Now, Odium looking to spice things up a little bit. We've got the Amaru pick here as we go to Dorms for Kelton's Knights. Now, this was a challenge to defend the first time Odium tried it. Let's see how they go about on the attack.
This is an interesting attack as well from Odium. They're actually going to sweep in through the small tower side of the building rather than doing what Kelton's Knights did and fixate their attack on that attic master push, right? So they're going to try and catch these guys off guard by clearing out down below, enabling Karma to come in with this buck and actually play the vertical, but he's not. He's going to send it up straight through the white stairs instead. He's going to meet his maker on the other side of Cambo, who's going to take him down to very low HP, but not out just yet.
I would love to know how Campo managed to land 2 shots into that buck. There's massive damage already, and it's completely scared Karma off. Look at this, though, from Josh. Karma is about to get caught with his pants down and finished off. Great read, great comms from Kelton's Knights, and Odium once again at a numbers deficit.
Yeah, tough position now for Odium. They have got Bappin down below who's going to try and make use of those vertical grenades through the floor. Meanwhile, they've actually sent President down into the basement to try and chase Josh, but Josh is gone.
He's long gone, isn't he?
Outie, he's gone.
He's like, you know that meme where the guy does the peace symbol and then disappears?
Yeah, disappears. Yes, Josh.
That's Josh right now.
That's funny. Oh, well, he knows what's going on as well. He knows that a backstab could come through from Odium, and that's President. He's been read like a book. Not just that, but there's barbed wire in his way too, so he's going to be heard as he tries to go for it, but Save can kick things off for the execute.
Yeah, that's good. A big pick from the big window. But Worthy, he does find that one. He knows it's Hibana, he knows it's President, and then he looks at the diffuser immediately after, and he doesn't see it. So he says, look, guys, they still have diffuser. I haven't got that yet.
How is Josh there? How did Josh get between 2 attackers through Zulu inside of security, and he's going to get a kill out of it? No. That's unreal. Oh, no, he doesn't.
He somehow whiffs the shots. It's a bit unfortunate, but the damage may be done as Save has gone down. The last 2 players are down below, and Josh is simply toying with them. He knows exactly where this last one is. There must be a camera down below. And Campo swoops in to steal the last one. A second dominant defense from Kelton's Knights.
That's actually unreal. How has he gotten there in the middle of the execute anyway? Whatever, I'm not going to question too much.
Man's got timing up the wazoo.
Yeah, that's actually crazy. That's like 2 rounds in a row that we've seen Josh just like weasel into his enemies, you know? That's crazy. Anyway, yeah, a great play from him. I think that was 3 on the round in the end from the roam game that was happening. Unfortunately, I think for Odium, as they went in for this what's it called? Small tower take. I almost called it big tower, so confused there. They telegraphed their push a little bit. I think it was pretty obvious what they were trying to do, but for Kelton's Knights, they realized that all they needed to do was just sit and wait on the bomb site for them to like do something and not get in the line, line of sight of these grenades that were going to be sent up through the floor. Right, just play it safe, see what's going on. Worthy as well, being aware that there could be a player going for the backstab was good to make sure that they could close it out on the defense.
Odium have been the dark horses this whole stage, right? Everyone saw them dominate in the qualifiers and say, wow, these guys are the 2nd-seeded team in the league. They have the potential to maybe even challenge Bliss for first. And yet, they are still on the 4th playday, sitting on just a single win. They are below Kelton's Knights on the ladder, and in order to top them, they will need to win every single round from here on out. 4 in a row is what Odium must do.
This is a tough one here for Odium, especially going onto their attack off as well. They have been struggling, and there it goes again. Josh with the opening pick onto Karma. Nice one from outside of that big tower. Not just that, but he's going to grab this Roma down in the basement as well. Saved, completely heard with that Ash charge going off. Josh is going to try and wrap around him.
Oh, he is on the hunt.
Oh, the drones missed him as well. President's drone ahead instead of behind. Well, why would he drone
has
behind?
to be ultra cautious here. I don't think Josh managed to catch his backside as he snaked on forward, but he might have heard the spray. I think Save just got a suppressor on, so Josh might not have heard him shoot out that camera in Freezer.
Oh, no.
And they have just completely sailed by each other.
I can't believe that's happened. Surely Josh is going to turn around and check. He knows that
Josh
someone
wins this.
has entered in through the basement, so he's got to check all the staircases.
Yeah, Save has just made a ton of noise as well. Now Josh, can he land the C4? Save takes a hunk more damage, but now Josh can simply push forward and find the final kill. This is the man who has been controlling this whole game for Kelton's Knights. And Odium are desperate.
Like, Josh is my superhero. What is going on here? He's just taking his wands and he's winning all of them. They are going to try and send out these flashbangs inside a kitchen and enable themselves to get inside towards that bomb site. It's not going to quite work just yet. The hatch being opened up above them will prevent them from getting in through this breach as well. So Odium have got a lot of work to do if they want to get this one back, but Bappin's going to kick it all off.
Oh, and he finds a second, so that's nice. Low HP, and he's taken down Josh. Meanwhile, President has made a big impact, taking down one of those key site players. Worthy still above the hatch on site, and Vinny also above. But with Worthy going down, suddenly the round is flipped on its head, and Vinny must 1 versus 3 clutch with site control well in Odium's clutches. He can hear the plank go down, but the air jab makes things hella awkward, and Bappin ties off the round with a 3K. A huge play from him, and Odium, they have some breathing room.
That was a great pivot there from Odium through the mid-round, identifying that meeting had essentially been given up to them. They didn't need to contest any positions on stage. Attic Hatch was still close. So if they wanted to make that play then and now, inside of Kitchen, they could do it. And off the back of the utility that they sent through, there was the lack of vertical that was actually holding onto their entry as well. They were able to make that work. And even though things were looking a bit scary down inside of the basement, they are able to refocus through the mid-round and eventually claw that one back to what was a really nice attack.
It's been a real pleasure to watch Josh. I'm just going to say it. I also admit I heard Rob getting a little bit excited over on the couches. He's, I think everyone that's been a fan of Rainbow Six for quite some time here in the OS region just loves seeing all these big names, these old names, these classics, the veterans popping off back in their element, because it was a slow burn demise for most of these players' careers, right?
Yeah.
Like they just struggled making majors time and time again, whether it was with Chiefs or Wildcard or Knights or whatever team these guys came from. It was a slow decline and an abrupt end to their career, which is now revitalized, and we're just remembering how good these guys are.
I think there's a big difference, right? Like once you go and play the game and it's just like fun, and you're playing with the pressure on the board, you have like a completely different mentality going into it. And so I think for all these like veterans of the game, yeah, what are you watching? He's got a shield on his back in case there's other
This
solids
is like
banned.
shield teams. This is what people thought Rainbow Six Siege was before it came out.
No,
It's
mate,
like
they're ready.
4
They're
guys.
so ready. They are so ready.
But you know who else is ready? Pat, and he has done it already. Karma has gone down. Pat's gone nuts. Oh, it's an embarrassment for Odium. 3 players fall 1 by 1. They drop dead. Cairo is on this lurk, but he's also lost the slow peak fight onto Josh, the man of the hour. And somehow, it's the hard support for Odium. President, who's on double digits, and who now must 1 versus 3 to save Odium's chances of the full 3 points.
Yeah. Good job from Kelton's Knights. Somehow they knew that was going to happen. Maybe they just went to the basement and they were like, guys, Odium, they are desperate now. You know, they're going to try something. And they were absolutely just ready for that. Like, Pat was sitting in the corner of blue and he had a shotgun out. It was ADS down. He was locked in. Yeah, nice as well from Cambo to be able to double down in his position too. President is going to attempt this 1 versus 3. Now, Josh is still here inside of the ground floor. He's in a bit of a special spot inside of meeting, but has actually heard President on the other side. Can he land it? Yes, he can.
Wow, damn. Josh is sharp tonight, I tell you what. Some of the shots he's landing, you could barely thread a needle through.
He's doing good. Man is doing good at what he does best, and let's play Rainbow Six Siege, another on match point.
Mandy, you know what's crazy? As of that match point, Kelton's Knights are already overtaken Bliss on the standings, right? Because they're guaranteed at least 1 point out of this game, thanks to that overtime guaranteed. And that means that Kelton's Knights are on 7 points, 1 behind Rapid Response Regiment, already 1 ahead of Bliss, and now far out of Odium's reach as well. This is just an open season for Kelton's Knights. It's the best chance they've had at really making a splash in quite some time. Stage 1, they had some upsets, right? But they still ended up 5th.
Yeah.
5th, behind Homeless, behind Circular Spheres, behind Wildcard, and now they're seriously gunning for that #1 spot.
Yeah, I think the big thing about this game that's going down right now is that it's like really a separation from the top 3 and everyone else, right? Like after this goes down, there is going to be like a massive points discrepancy between like 3rd and 4th place, correct?
100%.
I could be wrong, right? Yeah. So yeah, I think after this we really do have a defined top 3 gunning for that major spot after this matchup, and then the rest of the pack trying to fight their way in through down from 4 below.
Who would have thought that Kelton's Knights would be in that conversation for top 3, right? Like it's currently Triple R, Kelton's Knights, and then Bliss. That is the order right now.
Up to Kelton's Knights.
Up the mighty Kelton's Knights.
Anyway, for potentially the last defense of the round, we are going to go back up into that top floor of kids and dorms. Odium are going to look to repel in nice and quick with this Amaru, take attic control quickly. Very reminiscent of what Campo was able to do on his attacking half as well. He's going to meet some of his own medicine. So nice stuff there from Odium to set their ground and set their footing into the building.
Yeah, but my question is, what are the Odium going to do about these roamers, right? Like, we always have Josh lurking somewhere down below, and there he is, once again.
There he is.
Gone for a bit of a cheeky roam. He's got some cameras, no idea where those vault cams are, but he'll be checking them, seeing where he is able to roam.
Well, for Kelton's Knights, they haven't done anything particularly special here, have they? They've just got a shield set up inside a trophy. You've got your double grenade catching operators to try and prevent that from happening, but Kairo's made quick work of that with a Rotero drone. I believe that has been sent through to take that down. Not just that, but the wall can start to be opened as well. So Odium are making some good work here, some good progress to make this top floor attack count.
Yeah, and speaking of the Roteros, I think it was one of them that was just used now to open up a rotation hole on the attic wall between pit and trophy. So that's now putting a lot of extra pressure on Campo, who's about to find a gunfight here. He's going to decide it's about time to get out of dodge. He's been pressured by Karma over in Big Tower as well. And we're starting to see this Odium push shape up around Master and Attic.
Yeah, not just that, but Kelton's Knights have really flipped this setup the other way now. They've completely forfeited that trophy side on the map, and instead they've created these like one-way angles going inside of Attic, knowing that's going to come through. At the same time, we've got 2 of these players down on the ground floor getting ready to retake inside a classroom. There is a C4 on the board for Josh, so if he wants to deny that default plant as the execute comes through, that's what we're going to look out for.
Oh, very nice nade, but Worthy is lucky he was standing just far enough away to survive, albeit at a very low HP. This has been great from Odium. They've made good progress, but my question, Mandy, has it been too slow?
Not here in Oregon. It is going to be a flood. This is what they need to do if they want to get that bomb down, and Cairo to kick things off is looking
huge.
good for them.
Yeah, and with that, massive numbers advantage, Cairo is going to further that. Karma, mind you, it's all up to Josh now. But if anyone could pull off a 1v4 in this game, this is the guy to do it. A C4 completely misses its mark. And that all but determines the result of the round. They know where he is. Karma goes hungry for the last one. And finally, Odium get themselves back into this game with a ripping attack onto Dorms.
Really nice stuff. Great execute there from Odium to kick things off in the entry. They did what they needed to do there. They just did what was a very simple Master and Attic attack. Nothing too special about it. Just get control inside of Attic, go as far as you can, and without making that entry happen into pit. We saw that happen there. It was really good stuff there from Karma. He's eventually able to finally drop down and assist his teammates as they flooded their way in onto the bomb site. The thing about this kid's storm spawn site is it can be quite hard to get the bomb down in a safe spot. It's quite challenging to get your planter from the doorway of Trophy into a safe spot to get the bomb down. So what they called there was actually try and go for kills before doing anything else. And as they all flooded in at the same time, Kelton's Knights weren't quite ready for it.
And now they're going to take their tactical timeout, Kelton's Knights will, as they face the final round of regulation, 6-5, one last chance to lock in the full 3 points, one last opportunity to hack a Dorms defense their way. Now, they could go back to Dorms, or they could try it on one of the tertiary sites, but if they're going back to Dorms, they have to immediately address the issues that were present in that last round.
I think the way that they're going to do that is surely by trying to like keep things close here, right? We've got Vin who's decided to go into the KE instead, so he wants to keep that what's this called?
Games
the Master Wall? Oh my gosh, I'm losing it. The Games Wall, sorry, Master Wall.
Call-outs are hard.
Games
We were talking about this before
Yeah, we were talking
started.
about this before. Like, we are absolutely losing it on the call-outs. We need to do some drills or something. Anyway, yeah, Closet Wall, I feel like is the right call-out for this. Yes, come on, Mandy. He's going to try and keep that open closed for a little bit longer. Not just that, but he can also put the other K claw on Attic as well, and that's going to shut out Odium for a little bit longer. Odium have a tendency to not bring along like your EMPs and that type of thing, especially when it's this top floor bomb site. So I think this is well read by him to try and slow down that push. But what the setup looks like for Odium is that it's probably not going to be what we saw in the last round. There's actually no hard breach at all for them, unless it's the tin cans of Karma.
I mean, it's got to be some kind of rush, right? Because they have just lost 3 drones in that prep phase. 4 drones now. I can only assume that they must be trying to play something really aggressive, and that's why they got all their drones so aggressive to the bomb site. Surely Knights can read this, though.
I don't know if they have yet, to be honest, because this entire night setup is like focused in on that trophy side of the map. But just, yeah, if we can see whether they are actually holding on to this or not, maybe they are. It does actually look like there are 2 players like ready for that double window hop-in. Oh, no, they're not. They're so not.
Go hard or go home, I guess. Karma has repelled all the way in. Saved has found the opener, but there is a reply. Another kill for Saved. He has been the one to open this up, to send Odium to OT, but President has fallen. Worthy and Campo now in a 2 versus 3, and this is a devilish attempt now. So much ground to take, so many angles to look at, and of course, this plant will be almost impossible to cover from above. Hello. Okay, Bappin, what are you doing? He's taken out. This triple kill on the round for Saved. Look at this man. He's given them overtime. He has gifted Odium a second chance.
Yeah, a really good change of pace there from Odium once that kid's attack. They realized that they didn't want to do the same thing twice because Kelt's Knights are one of those teams that have great adaptations, right? Once they've seen the attack successfully work once, they're going to try and prevent that in the next time around. And it was really well read there from Odium to change it up completely, do something unexpected to send themselves into overtime.
Oh, exciting. If anything here, Mandy, I think whoever starts attacking overtime is surely meant to be favored. Like this laundry bomb site, yeah, that's going to be pretty much a guarantee for both sides on the defense. No one has been able to crack it on the attack. But when we switch over, in theory, like in round 15, Kelton's Knights will have to defend dorms, which they've really, really struggled at. And they've already taken their tactical timeout for absolutely nothing. Odium have really opened up this game thanks to Sabe's heroics and the fantastic strat call last round. Whoever it was that called for that rush, it was a perfect read. And Odium are now given an opportunity to take 2 points away from this game.
Yeah, this has been a real resurgence here for Odium as they go onto their attack. Something that actually surprised me quite a lot. I thought that as soon as Kelton's Knights went onto the defense, they were going to feel nice and comfy, but Odium continue to prove us wrong. It does seem like it is going to be a fast play enabled by that blitz and Dokkaebi as well of Karma to try and get his teammates in nice and early, clear out those roamers, and take as much ground as possible.
Is there going to be a drone ahead? It looks like it's just Bappin and Cairo pushing in together. I'm not sure what drones have already cleared parts of the map. Josh is sitting alone on the freezer stairs at the moment. Looks like Cairo's going to do a full sweep upstairs as well, checking for these positions. Still no logic bombs used by Karma, so Cairo is going to have to face check everything. He won't get the sound cue.
Well, they don't actually need these logic bombs just yet, right? Like, they probably anticipate that Kelton's Knights are going to lean into that anchor-centric type defense. Once again, all 5 players are down in the basement, so there's no reason for Karma to have used any of those logic bombs just yet. What it's going to do instead is it's going to enable these players to go in for that execute, right? When the execute comes through with that logic bomb going down, they're going to know that oh gosh, okay. They're going to know if there are any off angles played by the anchors. But here goes Campo. He's actually gone all the way back up into T3, and I don't think that Odium know about it.
No, but Odium haven't overextended as of yet. They've got some modest map control, but they haven't looked to extend into Master or the Big Tower. And the Big Tower is where things would get serious for that flank of Campo. But here comes the utility. The breach of the hatch in Freezer. It is going to be open finally, and President's now going to look for this laundry hatch as well. So Odium have telegraphed that they're looking to push the front of the map, and that triggers Campo to now look for some kind of flank.
Oh, here he goes, but I think they know about it. They must have a flank drone somewhere here in the top floor, and a 1 versus 1 of Blitz's Cairo is surely not going to go in his way, but he lands the shot straight into Cairo's head and will take him down.
I have no idea how he landed that shot. I have no idea how Cairo died to that, but he will be fuming. That's for damn sure. Odium looked like they might have had the chance to get the best attack onto the basement we've seen so far. But hope is not yet lost as Bappen claws one back.
Well, they're going to try and get open this E hatch now to look for a backsided push of the map. Sage as well is going to rotate over in towards blue to try and make this one work. But here goes Win with the juggle. I don't think he has landed it. So that's going to delay even more time. Backtake is now off the cards here for Odium, and they'll be forced to funnel their way in.
It's going to come down to some juicy 1 versus 1s here, as Worthy holds a strong position on the A-bomb, and Odium completely flipped the switch, looking to push from the front side. They're going to have to walk straight into the waiting arms of Kelton's Knights. With that logic bomb, with the final gas going through, with the stuns, Bappen must have an impact here, the star player for Odium, but everything falls apart. And the Fenrir gadgets, well, they will crumble this attack. Bappen caught in between 3 players, and match point is once again beset before the Kelton's Knights.
Yeah, really super work there for Kelton's Knights on that defense. 2 parts of the round that really went their way. 1, Campo doing some crazy work going for that retake up into T3. I think that wasted like at least 30 seconds in towards that mid round. That's not good because that means that they couldn't play that mini game over on E-Box hatch against Vinny, and then Vinny won that one because he went back and collected his original Electroclaw to actually play the juggle onto E hatch. So really well played. 2 bits of the mini game victories going in their way. I suppose I was saying the mini game games, but that's not quite the phrase I wanted to use there. So yeah, the mini games going well there through the mid round really enabled them to have a successful late round.
So that's a good start to overtime for Kelton's Knights, but it doesn't get easy now because guess what? They got to go attack Laundry, and this has been defended 5 times so far this game. Nobody has been able to crack those defenses. Kelton's Knights, like, do you just drastically look for something different? Kind of like what Odium were doing. Hey, let's go for a rush. Hey, let's go for this. Or do you just say, look, we know how to win this bomb site. It's hard, but let's just attack it head on, do what we would normally do, look for a roam clear, look for site clear, look for the hard breach, do things the hard way.
This might be an early call, but I've got a good feeling about this one for some reason for Kelton's Knights. I'm just looking at the lineup of like both of what's going on, and I have a feeling that Odium have maybe not brought enough to challenge Kelton's Knights here. Like, you've got the double shotguns, like double site construction. Is that really necessary when there's Cade on the board and you could be keeping things closed? Yes, the mirror is a great pick there for Cairo, but is it going to be in the right spot when you've got Pat on the Hibana and they've been given the rest of the map for free as well, so they can spend ages working on these mirrors? It's making me feel a little worried for Odium that they haven't actually brought enough to the table to challenge Kelton's Knights in through the mid-round.
Well, it is quite a timid defense. As I say that, Sade looks a little bit aggressive again here on the rear stairs. It really just looks like Odium is doing the exact same thing we've seen from them twice already, but the big difference is that Josh, from wherever, has found the opening kill, and it's on to Bappen as well, the top fragger for Odium in this game. That is a massive boon to Kelton's Knights.
This is good work from them so far. The early game going in their way, but now it's just about translating it inside of that ground floor. Of course, the rest of the map control has been gifted to them, so they're going to take that free real estate. They're going to be able to open up all the hatches because it's completely uncontested. Not just that, but if they can identify what push they want to go for early on, they can actually deal with these mirrors with enough time to do so.
I've been harping on about how this has been a defensive bomb site, but let's not forget that Kelton's Knights got this down to a 1 versus 1, the very first round of this game, and Cairo only clutched that by hiding. Odium now, the pressure is on them, that's for damn sure. Pat has now breached this laundry hatch. It will be open in a moment's time. There you go. Surely next up is just to move on to these other 2 hatches. As you said, no Kaid whatsoever. It's very simple now for Kelton's Knights to just focus up on the site.
I wonder where Pat is going to take the diffuser and the rest of that hard breach, right? So Cairo's setup of the mirror is fully facing that front push. So it makes me wonder, are Kelton's Knights actually going to try and contest this front push and actually take down both mirrors? Because if they want to, now is the opportunity. There's only one person on one of those mirrors, and that's Cairo inside a closet. No one is holding on to that secondary mirror that is facing inside a freezer right now. So if they can identify this early and actually take it down, it might be their way in.
Well, looks like the way back for Odium is finding individual picks, isolating these players, and Worthy is the first to go down. However, a nade from Vinny, the bottom of Laundry, has taken down that really pivotal player. There is a second nade available. He is going to use it. Surely that will finish him off. Oh no, it was tossed in the hallway, And so Cairo is allowed to survive.
I think the indecision of Kelton's Knights could spell their death here as they try to make their way inside of Freezer, and the execute will come out now.
But the double refrag here might work out. But Odium, they do spring to life. Pat and Josh now on a single doorway. Must make this dream a reality. Pat's obliterated, and Karma also finishes off Josh. So there was a dream, but it was quashed at a moment's notice. Odium sprung to life and confirmed that we will indeed be going all the way to round 15.
Nice stuff there, discipline from Odium. I think ultimately for Kelton's Knights, they actually had a great opportunity to execute in. There were two ways that they could have done it right. First, that front was very much unguarded as it stood from Odium, right? Vin was able to send that nade in through and actually take down the closet player. But even though that had happened through the mid-round, Kelton's Knights couldn't quite capitalize on it. They got a little bit indecisive as to where exactly they wanted to go. They saw the mirrors on the front and thought, we don't want to do that. So they went for the back, then Vin got the down. They thought, okay, let's pivot and do the front instead. But by the time that they'd made that decision, the rest of Odium were ready for that, and they actually cleaned them up as they tried to flood in for that execute.
Wow, it's amazing how the slightest of change there could have completely changed that round result. Odium now have the advantage. There's no doubt about it. This is a bomb site they have successfully attacked for the two final rounds of the second half. They did it once, and then they managed to do it again with a completely different rush. What will Kelton's Knights do about it? They are the ones who now have the onus to change.
So here we go. We are going into that top floor, but like you're saying, you know, it doesn't look like they're doing anything different, except that there's actually no shield being brought by Campo. He's got the observation blockers instead, so it's not like they're actually leaning into that trophy setup that we've seen time and time again. There's also none of those like grenade catching actually, there's one I'm talking about. So it's not like they have a heavy setup, I'll say, going inside a trophy. It's going to be more centered in on the bomb site. But it actually seems like Campo, with that rotation inside of Attic, is going to hold on to that big tower position early. Not just that, but there's even Josh down in the basement, anticipating an early entry to come in through one of these Odium plays, and he can also support Campo in his position too.
Yeah, it's hard to get a solid read on what Odium are playing at here. Where was that? Okay, Karma's going to get into big tower, but that's not anything crazy. That's just some fairly basic map control. There is, of course, a fully reinforced wall there in Attic. There was a smoke toss. I'm not sure what the purpose of it was. Perhaps to bait a plant, bait some over-aggression. But Kelton's Knights do not bite.
Yeah, look, I think Kelton's Knights are just going, all right, sit down and relax. We don't know what they're doing just yet, so let's just hold on. Saved in the meantime has actually gone down below, and there's Bappen to kick it off all in this potential final round. Actually, will be the final round with the first pick, and Saved might be able to claim this second.
Yeah, that is the player you want to take down. There's no two ways about it. Josh has been phenomenal, but he will not find another kill this game. Now Odium look to try and clear down below. Saved has been snaking his way all around the map looking for these lurkers, but I believe it's just Josh. He's been taken out now, and Worthy has fallen back to sight.
No, so this is a good position from Worthy, right? He's realized that the entire push is going to come down from the ground floor up. They're not actually contesting out on this master balcony just yet, so instead he's positioned back to actually hold on to the main stairs. An off spot now as Bappen is going to take the one-to-one against him, and surely he'll be able to claim this one.
No!
Oh, he doesn't.
Worthy loses the fight! That could be the round in the bag for Odium, thanks to the heroics of Bappen early on. Now 1 minute left to play with, but a two-player advantage is absolutely massive. What can Knights do to bring it back? Do they peek over aggressive? Do they consolidate their position? Odium, they're inching closer.
I think this is tough for Knights now. They are going to be collapsed on if they do not make a play. In this man disadvantage, they have to be extremely careful. It's their time to shine and try and make a play here, and it's all going to be on Campo to start it off.
Yeah, but the trade is there for Odium, and it could well be enough to keep this game alive. Vinny now wasting his C4. Campo's gone down. Vinny in a 1 versus 4. He has no idea what to watch. Save will find the final kill. And Odium are absolutely energized on that. Take a look at President's face. The comeback from 6-4 to claim the 2 well-deserved points at the end of this game is everything that Odium dreamed of.
That was a super comeback there for Odium. All of their attacks just absolutely lit the spark there for this team as they clawed their way back from that